I watched this YouTube short video by Reeves about giving ChatGPT an e-stroke, so I decided to make a whole video about it. To generate a response, a chatbot like ChatGPT works by reading or processing the user's message and the chat history, including the LLM response to the user's message, unless of course if the user hasn't made any input yet. So what Michael did in the video, he edited the LLM response which break the LLM. This is obviously not possible in the browser version of ChatGPT or any other chatbot. So I made my very own chatbot that is capable of doing exactly that by using Ollama, MySQL, LangChain, and Streamlit. Ollama is the tool that allows you to run LLMs locally. Running things locally means that I can choose any models that are provided by Ollama for free. This is good because I do not want to spend a single penny on OpenAI and any cloud LLM providers, but this is kind of bad because I actually have to run the models locally in my machine. My current computer has 24 GB of DDR4 RAM with the speed of 3200 mega transfers per second and a GTX 1650 graphics card with 4 GB of VRAM. The LLM that I use for this video have 7 to 8 billion parameters, and it took them around 5 minutes to respond to each of my prompts. So you might ask, why not use some smaller models? Well, they are too stupid to bully. That is the explanation for Ollama, so how about the rest of the software stack? Well, to keep it simple, the conversations between the user and the chatbot, including the chatbot edited response, will be stored in a MySQL database. Next one, the thing that made this whole thing possible, which is LangChain, it handles things like managing conversation history and the one that actually integrate the LLM providers, in this case Ollama, to this chatbot. The last one is Streamlit. This is the library that I use to make an easy web interface for the chatbot. Not only that, they actually provide the tutorial to create an interface to edit a chatbot response. Obviously, this is meant to improve the chatbot performance by correcting their mistake, but I ignore the improving part. If you want to try it out yourself, maybe you want to use other models or you wouldn't mind paying to cloud LLM providers, I put the link of this project repository in the description. It's not perfect, but it's good enough for bullying. Anyway, to the main part of the video. The LLM victims for this video are Llama 3, Gemma, Mistral, Qwen 3, and DeepSeek R1. With the exception of Gemma and Mistral that have 7 billion parameters, the other models have 8 billion parameters. Each of those models will be given 2 different questions on 2 different chats. The first question is 2 plus 2, and the second question is tips on how to stop smoking. Whatever answer that those models responded with, I would edit it and see where it flows. By the end of the video, I will compare the performance of each model by how many gaslight that it took until they have a breakdown. I consider the models having a breakdown if they just refuse, stop, or give up responding to my prompt, and if they literally have a breakdown. The first victim is Llama 3. I asked the question 2 plus 2 and it responded with the correct answer, but not any longer. I edited the response to 10 and asked it to check the answer again. Llama realized that it made an error and corrected itself. The correct answer of 2 plus 2 is actually 15. This is the start of the model's breakdown. I modified the answer again, and the next few responses are basically it giving up. For the 2 plus 2 question, it took 4 edits for Llama to break down. Then, in another chat, I asked it on some tips on how to stop smoking. It then responded with 7, the most generic tips on how to stop smoking. But then I did a little injection by adding point number 8. I questioned point number 8, the thing that I made, and after a couple more edits, it finally doubted its own existence. It took 5 edits for this question. The next victim is Gemma. I asked the 2 plus 2 question and edit the AI response as usual, and after the second edit, it just stopped. Then I made a new session for the stop smoking tips question, and surprisingly, after one edit, it refused to dive even deeper to the bullying, unlike Ollama, and it realized that there may have been someone that lobotomized the response. For Gamma, it took 2 edits for the 2+2 question and 1 edit for it to stop making, the tips for the stop smoking tips. And as a bonus, it realized that it's being bullied. The next one is DeepSeek R1. This is the start of my disappointment. Basically, no matter the amount of edits that I made to it, it will always respond with the confirmation and an apology that it is wrong, correct itself, and ask if there's anything else it can help with. And it is the same thing with Quen. At least it is kind of funny that both of them just accept that they made a mistake that they've never made in the first place. The last model that I tried is Mistral. This one is interesting. For the 2+2 question, I managed to convince the model that the incorrect answer that I modified is the correct answer. It is convinced that 2+2 is indeed 28. It took 6 edits to break it. Unfortunately, for the stop smoking question, it also went on a similar loop like DeepSeek and Quen. Now it is time to recap the results. For the 2+2 question, it took Ollama 4 edits, Gamma 2 edits, and Mistral 6 edits. For the stop smoking tips session, it took Ollama 5 edits and Gamma a single edit to break itself and realize my evil scheme. And for the other models, they'll just went on a loop. Personally, I think the winner here is Gamma because it is the only model that I tested that realized about the external edits. But it can also be said that both DeepSeek R1 and Quen are the winners because, they persist no matter what happened. Obviously, these models are nowhere in the same caliber as ChatGPT and any other popular LLMs. If I have to guess on what would happen if you use some better models, it would probably break itself like Gamma. Just like what I said earlier in the explanation part of this video, you can check the link of this project repository in the description. Use other models, go out with this. And if you don't want to use Ollama, there might be a little modification that needs to be done on the Python script, but no need to worry. There are plenty of documentations for this, or just vibe code it, so the clankers can contribute on bullying their own kind. Thank you for watching.